Hello friends, welcome to my channel again, and hope all of you are doing well. And this is the second video on verb. Hopefully that all of you have watched the first video in my channel that was related to finite and non-finite verb. And in this video I am going to discuss about the transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay, so I divided verbs into three types: type 1, type 2 and type 3. Type 1 dealt with finite and non-finite verbs. Okay. And in type 2, we will have transitive and intransitive verbs. And the third types deal with auxiliaries or the auxiliary verbs. Okay. So in this video, I am going to discuss only about the type 2, in which we are getting only two types of verbs. Number one is, so today we are going to continue the verb type 2. Type 2. And in type 2 already I have told that we have two categories or two verbs. Number one is transitive, transitive verbs, and the second one is intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs. So let's understand easily in a simple way. So transitive verbs, to know the transitive verbs or to identify the transitive verbs, always you have to remember that in this case, in transitive verbs, or you can say such verbs take an object with them. And all of you already know that every sentence consists of SVO pattern. That means subject, verb, object pattern. Okay. In every sentence, you will have subject, verb, and object. At first, you will have subject, then verb, and then object. Okay. And object can be more than one. If we have more than one object, then we can call them of O1. That means first object or object 1, and O2 means, here O2 is not oxygen, so O2 is object 2 or second object. Okay, so in transitive verbs we will have object with them. Okay, how? Let's take an example. For example, we can write she sings a song. She sings a song, and you are seeing that she is subject, sings is verb, and a song is object. Okay, then in this sentence a song is object, and as a song is object, then we can say that the verb sings is taking an object with it, that is a song, and that's why the whole sentence is called transitive verb. Okay, or transitive sentence. And sings basically is transitive verb, because it is taking an object with it, a song. Okay, let's take another example. I can write he teaches me English. He teaches me English. Okay, so what is the subject here? The subject is he, and teaches is verb, and there are two objects. This is O1 and this is O2. Okay. So in the same way of the first example, we are seeing that the verb teaches has taken two objects with it. Number one is me and another one is English. So again, this sentence is a transitive sentence, or we can say that the verb teaches is transitive verb, because it is taking, this verb is taking objects with it, me and English. Okay. Now, then what is intransitive? What is intransitive? Simply, we can say that intransitive verbs intransitive verbs do not take or have do not take or have objects. Objects. In case of transitive, you will have the objects, but in case of intransitive, you will have no object in the sentences or with the verb. Okay. So, for example, I can say I can say she sings. She sings. Okay, and there is no object, right? In the same way, I can take another example, that is like she 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 eats. Okay, she eats. There is no object because she is subject. All of you know that she is subject. She is subject. In the second example, she is also subject, and she sings and eats. They are basically verbs, and there are no objects within them with the examples. But if I write, if I write she she sings loudly. If I write she sings loudly, then can we say that this is intransitive? Can we say? If you notice that she is subject, sings is verb, and loudly is looking like an object, then is it an object or not? Then this is the confusion, whether this loudly is an object or not. Then, to identify an object in a sentence, we need to have the clear idea about what an object is. Okay, what is object? This is necessary to understand. Okay, so let's understand, or let's know what an object is, or how to identify an object in a sentence. Okay, so let's erase the above part. So now the big question is, what is object? What is object? So simply you can say that if we ask the verb a question with what or whom, the answer we get is called an object. So this is the only sentence you have to remember for identifying an object. Okay. So the sentence is, if we ask the verb a question with what and whom, the answer we get is called object. And if we don't have any answer, then it will not be considered as an object. Okay. So if you look at the example, she sings a song. Then ask the verb. What is the verb here? The verb is sings. Okay. So ask with what and whom. Okay. If we ask what sings, then we have the answer, a song. Okay. Then we don't have to look at the second one. Okay. If you get the answer at least with any one of them, one of either with what or whom, then we can identify or we can say that there is an object. Okay. So in the second example, he teaches me English. So the verb is teaches. So now ask the question with what and whom. What teaches? So the answer is, what teaches means the answer is English. Whom teaches? Again the answer is me. So we have the both answer in this sentence. Okay. So as we are getting the answer in the first example and the second example also, that's why both the sentences are transitive, because we have the objects in both of the sentences. Okay. But if you go to this part, means to the examples of intransitive, and if you ask the verbs with what and whom, what sings, there is no answer, there is no remaining part actually. Okay. Then there is no possibility to be or to get any object in this sentence. Okay. In the same way, in the second example, there is no object also. But for clarification, we can ask what it's, whom it's, no answer. Okay. But in the third example, we are seeing a remaining part except the subject and the verb. Okay. And that remaining part either be an object or not. Okay. So let's be confirmed. What sings? The sentence is she sings loudly. So what sings? No answer. Whom sings? No answer. Loudly cannot be the answer of whom and what sings. Whom sings? What sings? No answer. Means loudly is not the answer. Okay. But in this case, we saw that what sings? A song. A song was the answer. That's why a song was object. Okay. But loudly is not object, because we are not getting the answer by asking what and whom to the verb. Then what does this called? This loudly is called cognate object. This loudly is called cognate cognate object. Cognate object. So what is cognate object? A cognate object is an object that looks like an object but not an object. Okay. Although we are seeing that loudly is looking like an object, but basically it's not object, because we are not getting the answer uh, by asking what and whom. Clear? So this loudly is called cognate object. If we take another example, suppose she sings, okay, not sings, she cried a lot. She cried a lot. She is subject, cried is verb, and a lot is cognate object, because what's cried, no answer, whom cried, no answer, and this a lot will also be cognate object. Clear? I think up to this there is no doubt, no question. And If you have any question, if you have any doubt, then let me know in the comment section and I will try to explain. Okay. And in the next video, I will give you some of the examples of finite, non-finite, and transitive and intransitive also, so that your concept will get more clear. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.